If you're a cranberry lover like me and you stocked up while they were in season, but now you're looking for something to use them for, I've got the perfect solution for you here. This is my cranberry mustard chicken. Comes together so easily, it's great for a weeknight meal. So if you're ready to enjoy another round of cranberries, stick around. I'm going to show you how to do this coming up next. Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Roy. I'm a home cook and amateur baker, and I'm here on this channel sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Now, of course, today is one of mine because that is typical, and this is for a cranberry mustard chicken. Now, if you saw the thumbnail and you still clicked on this link, then you must be a cranberry lover like myself. And hopefully, like me, you stocked up on cranberries while they were out, and especially when they were on sale. I have a bunch in the freezer, and this is one of my favorite applications to use them. Now, one thing before we get started, I'm wondering, I usually, as you all probably know, go over each of the ingredients first and then start cooking. I've seen a lot of videos lately that will just tell you the ingredients as you move along with the recipe, and I personally prefer having the segment of the ingredients and then the procedure. It's a little less confusing to my ADD mind, but I was curious what your thoughts were, so let me know down in the comments. Do you like having all of the ingredients presented, then having them prepared, or would you prefer having all of the ingredients announced as it's prepared? Let me know down in the comments. But onto this recipe, a cranberry mustard chicken. Now, mustard may seem like an odd ingredient to throw in with cranberries, but that tang really does play nicely against those, especially when we add a little sweetener. And just cranberries on their own, while they were good, because I love cranberries, they needed a little boost, and that's where the mustard comes in. But I'm getting ahead of myself as usual. Let's go over the ingredients. I have here my cooking spray. Of course, I'm always using the cooking spray. It's pretty much a standard at this point. I have here salt and pepper, and that is to season our chicken breasts. Now, I've already seasoned my chicken, but it is just to taste. So however much or little you prefer, you could even add other things like onion powder, garlic powder, to add another little layer of flavor. But while we're talking about the chicken, I have here 1.5 pounds of chicken breast, and those are cut into 6-ounce cutlets. This actually all came from one chicken breast. So you can use regular chicken breasts, but you just want them to be about the same size. Now, for the nutrition facts, I am going to be doing them for 6 ounces of chicken per serving. If you're a 0 bite, 0 points on chicken and you want to do a little bit more, go right ahead. But I am giving the nutrition facts for calories and macros as being 6 ounces of chicken. Here I have 1.5 cups of fresh cranberries. Now, those were frozen, as I said. I have a bunch in the freezer. I just measured them out and put them out, let them thaw a little bit. They don't have to be fully thawed, but it is helpful if they are a little more thawed so you don't have to cook them as long. I have here 1/3 cup of water, and that is just to help us loosen up the sauce a little bit. If you wanted, you could use chicken broth, but water is fine. Here I have 3 tablespoons of brown sugar replacement, and you could use regular sugar replacement, but I like the little caramel flavor of the brown sugar replacement. But if you wanted to use granulated, that is fine. Here I have 1 medium shallot that has been finely chopped, and that is about 1/3 cup. You could also use regular onion if you want, but I like the mellow flavor of a shallot. Gives you a little hint of garlic, mild hint of onion, and it doesn't overpower the cranberries. Here I have 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Of course, that is the mustard part of the equation there. And here I have 2 teaspoons of dried parsley and 3/4 teaspoon of dried thyme. Now, if you wanted to use fresh herbs, you definitely can. You would just add those at the end. You never want to add fresh herbs to the beginning of cooking because they will wilt down and lose a lot of their flavor. But since I'm using dried, I want to add those in early so that they get to bloom and heat up and get those flavors released. All right, so that is all we need for this dish. Let me shuffle a few things around and we'll get started. All right, so I've sprayed my skillet. I have a large skillet here with cooking spray and set it over medium-high heat, and it is just about right at temperature. And I'm just going to cook off the chicken breasts first. Now, one thing I do want to mention is if you have longer chicken breasts that you can't fit them all in the pan at one time, do them in batches because you want to get that brown and you don't want to have them steaming because they're all cramped in there. If you've ever tried to cook chicken breast, or any meat for that matter, and it's too much in there and it doesn't get brown, it's because it's steaming rather than searing. But our pan is nice and hot, so I'm going to add in the chicken breast and just try to position those as best I can in here so that they fit kind of like a puzzle. And now what you're going to do is let these sit here undisturbed for 4 minutes and let them get nice and brown. If you needed to shift them a little bit, that's fine. Like if one part's not really on the heat as much, you can shift them a little bit halfway through. But 4 minutes on this side, and then I'm gonna flip them. So while I'm waiting for that, let me go wash my hands. All right, so it's been 4 minutes. I did shift them around a little bit because some edges towards the outside of the pan weren't getting as much heat, so I did move them around. Now what you want to do is flip them and get them onto the other side to get that browning as well. And you can see they have a nice brown color to them, which is exactly what we're looking for. So now what we're going to do is let these sit here for another 4, maybe 5 minutes, just to get browning on the other side as well. So I'll be back. All right, so it's been another 4 minutes. I'm going to take these out. I have a plate standing by, not the same plate that I had them on. You want to make sure it's a clean plate so there's no cross-contamination. And just transfer these from the pan to the plate. And I will cover them with some foil just to keep that heat in there. Now, typically you want your chicken breast to come to about 165 for safety reasons. If it's about 160 or so, it's going to be fine because it is going to be going back in once we get the sauce cooked for about another 5 minutes. But now I'm turning my heat down to medium, and I'm going to coat the pan one more time with a little cooking spray and add in our shallots. And now we want to cook these, stirring fairly often until they've gotten a soft and a little golden color. And you also want to try to work up some of the brown bits from the chicken cooking in here, because those brown bits are what we call fond, and we are fond of fond, believe me, because that adds a lot of flavor. So just cook this about 3 to 4 minutes, stirring often, and I'll be back. It's been about 3 minutes. They're nicely colored. Now what we're going to do is add in all of the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to start with the cranberries, brown sugar, mustard, parsley, thyme, water. Now we're just going to stir all of this together, get everything nicely incorporated, and we're going to let this cook. And what that's going to do is it's going to heat up our cranberries and allow them to burst. And they have natural pectins, so that is going to help thicken up our sauce. If you need to add a little bit more water, if it starts to get a little too dry, that's fine. So now we're going to let this cook through for about 8 to 10 minutes. Let those cranberries burst and thicken up our sauce, and I'll be back. All right, so it's been about 8 minutes, and I did have to add about 2 tablespoons of water because it was getting a little dry, but you can see how much is thickened from the pectins in those cranberries. And now what we're going to do is take our chicken, but we're not going to take just the chicken breast. We're also going to take any juices and add those back in to incorporate into our sauce, because that is flavor. Then I'm just going to put all of my chicken into the pan. And we're going to cook this for about 5 minutes just to let everything heat through. And I'm going to toss the chicken a little bit just to make sure it gets coated in our cranberry sauce. Even though it's going to go on top, you want to have that flavor all throughout. So give me about 5 minutes. I'll be back and we'll be done. All right, so it has been 5 minutes. I'm going to turn off the heat, but look at how gorgeous that looks with the sauce on there. And then you'll spoon some of the sauce out onto the chicken as well. Delicious. Now let me move this off the heat while I talk to you about the nutrition facts. Now for 1 serving of this, it is only going to be 0 Better Balance Bites or old Blue Points. I'm on the Healthy Better Balance plan, which is equivalent to the old WW Blue plan. So those are the bites and points that I give. Their current plan is around where their blue plan was, so you can estimate where it is there. Now, if you were following calories, the calories for 1 serving of this is going to be 356. And if you are following macros, the fat is 9.7 grams, the saturated fat is 2.1 grams, the protein is 26.8 grams, carbs are 52.6 grams because of the cranberries, fiber is 4.3 grams, and sugars are 2.7 grams for 1 serving of the chicken. Now this can be refrigerated about 3 to 4 days, and you could freeze it for up to 3 months. But that's all there is to it for some delicious cranberry mustard chicken. I hope you will give this a try, and I hope that you enjoyed this video and this recipe. And if you did, I'd appreciate you helping out my channel by doing the usual: like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video. We do have a collab coming up. I believe it's the 19th for soups. So if you're in the mood for soup, get ready for that one. And if you want the recipe for this, I will link directly to this recipe down in the description box. There will also be a link to the blog itself if you're looking for any of my recipes. And there are other things down there, as I've mentioned many, many times, like my Amazon storefront. There's also my social media if you want to follow me over there. I have my Instagram and 3 Facebook groups that I'm part of. So check out that description box for all sorts of information. And I think it is about time to dig in. And I hope that you'll be doing the same yourself very soon. So until next time, bye.